Right, good afternoon, everybody. Here we are for the Community Development Group. The camera's now live. We'll start going through the agenda. Apologies for absence, please.
We've got councillors Campbell, Carr and Wojcik. Right. Our councillor is
Happy with that? Have we got any disclosures of interest or grants of dispensations, please? Everybody happy with that? Actions arising from the last minutes is none. We'll move on to item 5, which is your report for budget monitoring. As I say, it's very early in the year, so there's not much being spent. So if you have any questions about it, feel free to fire them over. Yeah, sorry.
Just a quick one really. On number 15007, which is the Easter donations, I just wanted to check because I think it's a good thing. It says in the budget we were looking to get £290 in donations, and we actually got 400. Is that correct? We've got more in than expected. Brilliant. That's really good. And for the Quayside ones underneath that, same for the vendors' income actually for Easter. The budget, we haven't received as much yet as budgeted. Is there still donations to come in?
no, there isn't.
Okay.
When we set the budget, which was 3,500, that was some months ago.
Yeah.
And of course, when you're budgeting that far ahead, you can only budget on best knowledge from previous occasions. But the lack of income this year is because of there wasn't as much fairground facilities there, so that had a knock-on effect with the amount of donations that were received.
Brilliant.
And that's the reason for that.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what you've actually got down here is that expenditure to date on the event. Say, for example, one of the firework display, £2,000. That's what's been spent up to now.
Yeah.
Is that going to be the expected expenditure?
No, the column that you're looking at, if you look at the very top, it's got 25-26 YTD, so that's year to date. On the footer at the bottom, it's got the date that the report was produced. So that's the financial position as at the footer date. But the fireworks, obviously, that's a few months off, and we'll be working on that shortly. And closer at the time, that's when you get the expenditure being earned in the income from the council as well.
So that's what's been spent to date.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the 13015, the blue plaques, these are for buildings that's going on the heritage listing. Is council actually paying for them, or do the householders who are living in heritage buildings, like along from me at Bath Terrace, do they pay for the blue plaques ourselves?
The council consider applications for blue plaques, and we would actually get the blue plaque made in accordance with one of our text we had to have done, so it's full council funding. In a particular case you referred to, we've always got to get the householders' permission, or Northumberland County, we've put a lot of plaques on their buildings as well, so we always get the landlord's permission or the owner's permission.
Does a letter get sent out to these people that's on heritage buildings?
Well, we'll have to speak to them. Generally, we'll get them into the office, or we go to see them. We'll outline the fact that they live in a prestigious building in that respect, which reflects the heritage of life. And we ask them if they would mind a plaque of this nature. Generally, the plaques are about that diameter, but you'll know from the particular residence that you're talking about, it's a much smaller one. So it's in keeping with the house itself. So it doesn't stand out like a beacon, really. But yeah, we'll always have full discussions County council. We've got to go through a lot of, red tape to go through that. We've got to get license agreements and things like that.
I just wanted to offer some clarity on the zero budget that's next to that blue plaques. You'll see 25-26, there is a zero budget next to it. That's a carryover from the previous financial software where blue plaques didn't actually exist as a budget heading. It was all part of heritage projects. And when we've set up the new financial software, we've separated blue plaques from heritage projects so that we can monitor any expenditure on blue plaques separately. I just wanted to explain that.
Else? No. Yeah, we'll move on to item number 7. Is that no then?
And this report, Lane's written it, and we'll go into the further detail of it with you later if you wish. We'll finish my summary, but this was due to a conflict between the town council's planning committee and the arrangements that the county council had on their various committees. At the time of the report, at the time of writing the report, it was very active and very, that was the position that was reflected. Since then, we've been informed that the county council are reviewing, going to change certain committees at the county council. So in the last week, this has flipped over a bit, so it's no longer relevant to discuss this report tonight. I was just talking to the chair before. When the county do resolve how they're going to go on in the future, we'll then, Elaine will do the detail of it. Elaine will then reflect the new position on how it impacts the town councillors and their independence on county council committees as well, in respect of planning. If there's any more detailed questions, I'm sure Elaine will answer those.
We'll probably find out after at the 2nd of July meeting at NCC, how they're going to do it and what.
I think that we're going to try and get the 2nd of July one deferred as well.
Yeah.
So that might, I don't know what the result is going to be on the 2nd, but between now and Wednesday, we're going to try and stop the county council one through different methods. So that may be delayed to even further. But if it goes ahead on the 2nd of July, then we're just going to go on what the council decide on that day.
Well, on that, if it does go ahead,
Yeah.
that will give us time to write a report to go directly to council, because whatever new, if this report had been discussed tonight, it would have been a recommendation of full council anyway. So what we might do, if the county do make any decisions and we find out, we'll just write something straight to full council for the 17th.
But I'm sure that if it does go through in July, my understanding is it's going to take the September or October, but so say council approve the change from the LAC to the new, what they want, the new planning committees and community groups, say they do that, my understanding is it's going to take at least 3 months after the 2nd of July for it to go through the due process of, whatever they do. So it's going to be at least September or October. But in the meantime, I'm sure we're going to have planning decisions to be made down here. So do we just stay with what we've got? Do you know what I mean?
Does the status quo at county remain the same until that decision's made? Because at present, there is a local area committee and a local area planning committee with existing membership. Are those meetings going to be held, and are you expected to make decisions on planning applications?
The meetings have all been back until
It's so.
there'll be nothing in July. Okay, no planning meetings in July.
As long as there's no planning meetings taking place, then, well,
All these planning things that's coming through, I've been asked to like read like coming through. What committee will they go to, or they're putting them back? So these are the questions we've got asked before.
There was an email released.
These people have got like 8 weeks to determine an application, or some of them. I don't think there's going to be any local planning committees. even if it goes through on the 2nd of July, it's going to take, my understanding, at least September to get the legal bit through to make the changes. What it would do is a town council in the meantime, when we're asking us to consider these applications we're getting sent, what it would do, do you know?
Right, Denise.
Can I just propose that we remain as Malcolm suggested? You know, where it does get deferred until after the second. Once we know what's happening after the second, if it does mean that we're gonna end up in conflict with planning, then we can just hold an emergency, you know, an urgent meeting for that, just for that.
Okay.
Could I suggest that we continue the discussion while we're all here, continue the discussion as if it's got like everything's going ahead as normal, and that we have the two outcomes rather than us all having to reconvene after the meeting. So if we're saying that, because obviously there's part in here that isn't going to change because it's strategic planning, so the part of that which is the members of strategic planning can be discussed as normal. It is the lack that obviously you're discussing and considering. I feel like if we're trying to then have another meeting prior to the 17th of July, it's gonna be, because you're saying I've got to do something before our full council meeting.
Oh, sorry, if I can clarify, I'm
That's
not
fine.
proposing another meeting before the 17th.
Denise was.
No, I think
17, where's the 17?
The 17th
17th
is
is
full
full
council, so
Oh,
we've got
okay.
to, whatever this decision is, we've got
No,
to bring
I
it back to
mean-
full council.
No, there is going to be no planning meetings whatsoever held in county council all the way through July. So,
I know,
We
what
can
I'm
do-
saying is you just said if we need to wait until after the full council meeting.
after the full
To
council,
then reconvene all of us in another meeting,
no, but we can have it on the 17th
if we, that's fine. then.
because there's going to be no meetings across the whole of
Absolutely
July.
fine then.
Yeah, no, that's the bit about whatever comes from this meeting, it's only a recommendation, because this meeting can't make any policy decisions. So that's why, if this report had been considered and decided upon, it would have been a recommendation to full council in about 3 weeks' time, to say, this is a recommendation from community development, can you please agree? But if we find out on the 2nd or shortly after, and we come to some way of sorting this out, we'll be discussing it with the chairs here, and that report will then go to full council, so it'll bypass this committee.
Yeah, so what was this one deferred?
Yeah,
Yes,
Make the result.
Yeah.
I would
so like that full council.
I think that would be much better.
Yeah.
The problem I've got in county-wise is strategic planning seems to be taking a lot more planning applications in rather than the lack. Because we had hardly any meetings in planning at the lack at all. So now you all went through strategic. So we've got to wait until you get that report and then
That's the issue.
Right, right, yeah. I'm all.
Go ahead, Dave.
So was that actual proposal you were making there? And
I think we've just gone back to deferring this until the next meeting. We will know what the results are after the 2nd of July. It's not going to cause any conflict in planning issues with the town because the county sent an email out saying there are going to be no strategic planning or lack planning meetings through the whole of July
no point in having a decision,
until we know.
right?
Everybody happy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Want to move on to the officer presentation? Let's start with Lena.
Yeah, we're gonna get Elaine to present this in Julie's absence. Unfortunately, there's been a family issue which try to let Julie go home on, but you know, Elaine and I can handle any questions that you've got after, so just hand it over to Elaine.
Yeah, you said, big front, that's it. Yes.
Yeah, what? All I have to do is cancel the report, so I have building works. Yeah. Working through how everyone the other started. Not now, there's already got. Still. Just cancel. What we're gonna have to do, we're gonna have to cancel the meeting recording of the presentation. And then when we reconvene the meeting, we'll do another recording for the end, but if anybody has any questions after this agenda.
Just.
Just.
It's all right, yes. Right, I hope you all enjoyed that wonderful presentation from Elaine. Has anybody got any questions for her? Go ahead.
Can I just ask you the budget for 25-26? When is that from and to?
It's a financial year start
Financial year.
first of April, to the 31st.
Columns up to now. On the far.
I don't have that, but
Oh, right.
I'm not there.
First of April. That's the start of the financial.
It's probably, I don't know, a random one, but the sandcastle competition, usually it's in the holidays. This year it's not. Is there a reason? Obviously I've seen it's part of Life Celebrates as well, so I presume that it can help kick off that stuff. But it's still in school time. Hmm?
Part of the investment kids winning everything.
I know it's the 4th of July, I only saw that, it only came out, I think, yesterday or something. But usually it's in the previous years, it's been in August, and last year we decided to move it forward like earlier. It was the first weekend as soon as the kids broke up from school. But usually it's obviously in the holidays to give people something to do during the holidays. So I just wondered if there was a reason behind it being during school time. Doesn't matter, I think people, there might be more people that can obviously attend it being in school time. I'm just curious.
We'll have to come back on that.
That's fine, thank you.
So Saturday, the 12th of July.
But the school doesn't break up for the following week, it's the 18th, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the last day.
Maybe some logistical thing, because we've got to tie it in with the likes of Life Celebrates. Part of the Life Celebrates programme, just the reason I'm looking forward, it's just because I'm looking at the thing now, but we are working with the county on this one. We are adding value, and by adding value, we thought that the best thing to do was to keep the template of what we had, but to bring in a sculptor, a sand sculptor. So it would have depended probably on their availability as well. It is a Saturday, so you know the kids won't be at school. So imagine that's the.
Don't worry. Just.
Important thing started, but if it's any different, we shall get the information out to all the members probably tomorrow on the day.
Any other questions? No, jolly good. Right, move on. The time and date of the next meeting is the 25th of September on Tuesday and will be held here for the community development. And we're going to move on to number 9. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to ask members of the public for to leave the chamber for a moment.